Do you ever read the fine print when you agree to end user agreements, let's say for Wi-Fi or your smartphone? Chances are you don't, but some people did agree to some user agreements without reading it, and now they're legally obligated to complete 1,000 hours of sewer cleanup. Yay. It's probably not going to be enforced.
Yeah.
We could hope. But some people who agreed, 22,000, wow, that's more than I thought, found themselves legally bound to this after agreeing to free Wi-Fi from a company that does other Wi-Fi services for groups like Outback Steakhouse and Legoland. It was buried in there.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the company, the Wi-Fi company, had good intentions.
Yeah.
So their motive for doing this was to make people more aware of what they're signing, right? That's why I have a feeling that's why they included something like community service and not like, hey, you're gonna pay us $100,000 after your free Wi-Fi 10-minute period is over. They didn't do anything like that, right?
Well,
so
it was a contest.
It's bringing awareness to our behavior, especially when we sign contracts out. We don't know what we're signing, really. We don't know what's in there.
It's hard. I'm of two minds on this. One, we should be aware, but two, are you really going to sit down for 15 minutes and read all of this incomprehensible legalese?
Yeah. Does it place an undue burden on the consumer?
I think it does.
Right.
It is. I mean, it is. End user agreements have basically over the years basically equated to that we don't own the software that we buy. We're essentially leasing it from the company. So if we break rules from a company like Microsoft or Blizzard, that's on us. And it's kind of back and forth on whether these are enforceable because we all kind of know no one reads this. Oh, by the way, the Purple Wi-Fi group, they hid that in there and they put out a contest for anyone who would read the terms and conditions and find this clause.
Yeah.
Only one person did it. This was open to anyone. One person found it. 22,000 people did not care and signed up anyway. In 2014, there was a similar one kind of clause from a cybersecurity firm that basically had a Herod's clause, which meant you have to give us your firstborn child.
Oh, yeah.
And so many people signed up for that as well, which shows people don't read it.
Totally legally non-enforceable, right? Obviously, you can't trade a human being for goods.
Yeah, that's illegal.
That's illegal. But you brought up a good point earlier about whether or not these contracts are enforceable. Some say that they're not legally binding because there's no, among many things, there's no option to negotiate the contract.
I mean, ostensibly a contract should be open for negotiation.
Between two parties and open for negotiation, right?
So is it not a contract? And if so, what is it? And is that legally binding? Because people, they don't read these. I was reading this article from a Guardian writer who challenged himself to read the user agreement before using anything that he owned. And it made his life a hell because he'd have to sit down and he commented a lot of things like Apple's user agreement had a lot of obsolete parts of it. Other things were just so dense and so full of, I mean, if you've read a legal document, they're not easy to get through. And it just pages and pages of that. And it seems almost designed to confuse or bore you so you don't agree or you don't pay attention and just agree to it blindly. So should it be enforceable? I don't know. I think there's enough argument to say maybe not.
This particular community service clause, or do you think contracts in general? Interesting.
I know they're not going to make people clean the sewers or the toilets after a music festival, which I imagine are the worst toilets imaginable. But it's interesting that they would bring it up in this way to show us that this is a thing that we look at every day, but we also just ignore and tacitly agree to. Audience, do you think we should be forced to abide by the user agreements in a legally abiding way? Please let us know below what you think, and please like and subscribe for more.